A clash between television titans, the Time Warner Cable, and CBS is in full swing and is already affecting millions of TV watchers across the U.S. Take a look.
It's true. Time Warner Cable dropped CBS, America's most watched network. So Time Warner Cable customers are not seeing the most popular shows on television.
That's Coco.
Like you are.
Unbelievable.
Well, here to tell us all about the feud and how it could affect you is U.S. business editor Andrew Schmertz. Andrew, thank you for being here.
Good to be here.
So what is going on, Andrew? Time Warner versus CBS, Clash of the Titans.
Indeed.
What happened?
And it's really hard to pick who's right or who's wrong because they both really aren't exactly on the right side of the issue here. So first, by the way, that commercial there where it says Time Warner dropped CBS, it's not accurate. CBS has blocked Time Warner from airing certain shows and for the network because CBS wants to be paid more. So it depends on what side of the dispute you're on as to who exactly is blocking who here. But here's the basics. Broadcast network is free. Anybody could stick an antenna on your roof and get the channels to watch broadcast television. We're not talking about ESPN. We're not talking about CNN. We're not talking about Arise. We're talking about your standard CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, and your local stations. But these networks want to be paid for retransmission on cable, just like cable television networks do. For example, ESPN, which is a Disney channel, commands $5 per subscriber. So before
$5 per subscriber?
Per ESPN channel. So before ESPN sells a minute of advertising, it is making hundreds of millions of dollars a month. So the networks wanted a piece of that over 15 years ago or so. They began negotiating that. Now the dispute is how much does cable television, the networks, the cable networks, pay CBS for that? And CBS is in the latest in the fight here. ABC is coming up next with Disney, et cetera.
Okay, so
and
why does
ESPN.
Time Warner refuse to budge on the price, and how much do we know they're asking?
Well, so this comes down to a really simple equation that's facing the cable networks right now. And we're talking about the cable networks like Time Warner. They're losing subscribers. They're losing subscribers because people are cutting the cord. They're not going to other cable systems. They're not going to satellite television. They're watching online. And so Time Warner Cable does not want to pay anything more for these networks because they can't pass it along to their subscribers. Every time they start raising cable rates, people are walking, and it's become a real threat. They've lost about 100,000 subscribers now because of people cutting the cord, and that's starting to accelerate. CBS, on the other hand, says, we have plenty of ways of getting our programming out. There's the old-fashioned stick the antenna out the window way. There's Amazon and Netflix, which they've cut deals with. There is, of course, more traditional internet programming in Hulu. So they have a lot of different distribution models. Time Warner Cable has simply what it has, which is a cable to get the programming to your home.
So basically, Time Warner is saying we're not going to pay more money for less viewers.
That's right. They're not going to pay more money. They do not want to pay more money to CBS. And they're also saying that these are theoretically free channels that they budged many, many years ago on paying something. So we'll see where this goes. Time Warner has dug its heels in. It's been 2 weeks now.
It has been.
Since they took the program
I
off.
know.
But
You're missing out.
I know. Yeah.
Here's a, you're
They're
not watching
lucky
Big Brother.
It's summertime.
Right.
Well, that's what Time Warner is counting on right now. That it is summertime. And that's what CBS is counting on. Is CBS is starting to run all these advertisements about football. They, of course, have the big football contract. Who is going to be able to watch that, and what are the other distribution areas? Right now, CBS's ratings, by the way, are down very, very little, but it's also summertime. There's nothing to watch.
Well, people
so no
also
one cares.
forget that this is not just CBS, because CBS owns Showtime as well. So those Time Warner Cable people cannot get CBS or Showtime.
That's right. Time Warner here is being very, I wouldn't say punitive, but they're trying to leverage everything they have by saying, you know what, we're not going to show this, and we're going to take Showtime off as well.
But what does it mean for the average viewer like Shannon and I who want to watch The Good Wife in fall?
Right.
It's on CBS, or want to watch NCIS,
all of them.
all of them.
All of them.
Miami, Los Angeles,
Right.
Lagos, like what? What does that mean for us?
Well, so you have to look at alternatives on how you want to get your CBS programming, and that's what CBS is doing. Is they're sending out messages. So one, they run an ad that says go to your friend's house. So that's maybe one way.
Okay.
But you can get the programs online. In many cases, you can get them, order them through Amazon or Netflix. Roku, for example, which is the new internet streaming service that aggregates all of this content. Barry Diller's new company, which basically retransmits broadcast signals for free over the internet, and that's, by the way, the next place CBS and others are going to turn their attention to. So there are more and more distribution options. In the old days, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, cable television was it. And if you lived in New York City and Manhattan, the history of cable is you couldn't get broadcast TV because the antennas were blocked by the buildings. So in the old days, the networks were thrilled to have cable television. They were finally able to get more of their programming out there. The tables have turned a little.
Now, I wonder if this could backfire on Time Warner, and people say, well, I'm not getting CBS, I'm going to see it on the web anyway, so I'll just get all my programming, and then they can lose subscribers altogether because they're going to the web.
I think that the perception is that Time Warner is the bad guy here. Maybe not be true.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was going to say. So who's winning in the court of public opinion? Who's winning?
I think CBS is winning. And the reason you think that is because it just feels like Time Warner is refusing to show my programs.
Yeah.
And the programs I want to watch, CBS is more than willing to give it to them at a price. And I think that Time Warner is losing because the fact is cable companies struggle with their reputation to begin with in the public arena, and it's easy to blame the cable companies here.
Well, both.
Yeah,
But this is a seminal moment for the cable networks, the distribution, Time Warner and Cablevision and Comcast and even Dish TV and DirecTV, because all they do is distribute programs. They're not creating content. I mean, they do create content. Time Warner Cable, of course, is part of Time Warner and owns HBO, et cetera. But for the most part, these are distribution. Content is king, and content is finally starting to fight back. So CBS is certainly trying to use its weight here to get what it wants. And it looks like at ESPN, which is owned by ABC, which is charging $5 a subscriber.
Well, they make it seem like both sides say we're in it for the viewers. We're trying to provide the best program.
No, they're not in it for the viewers.
It's about
at
the
all.
money, the shareholders, right?
It's about the
dollar
money, the
bill.
shareholders, and everything they could squeeze out of the consumer.
Right.
Because here's the thing: Time Warner, if they were going to pay an extra 10 cents for CBS, they'll just put it on your bill, and that's what they're worried about. Because people now have an option of leaving. And they are.
And they're taking this very seriously. It's like a campaign. Like one side has their own commercials, another side has their own commercials. I mean, it's a war out there.
I think this is not going to be won or lost at the negotiation table. I think it is going to be won or lost in the public arena. And it is sort of a publicity campaign and a political campaign among CBS and Time Warner that can afford to spend the money. CBS, of course, has a network that they can run the ads on, and Time Warner has a whole bunch of channels that they can run the ads on. They're also taking out newspaper ads. And so they're really slinging the mud back and forth, and it is about public opinion here to see who can make the most phone calls at the end of the day. Interestingly, there's some political pressure as well. So the New York City Council has said that they're going to try to intervene. Now, New York City Council gives the franchise rights to Time Warner Cable. Like most municipalities, there's a franchise that goes along with the cable rights because these are in many areas monopolies. There are no other cable networks, cable systems other than Time Warner or Cablevision or Comcast, the ones that are there. So the City Council has tried to intervene, but there's been some legal questions as to whether they can. The FCC, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, the chair of the FCC, says that she is looking carefully at the situation and may try to pressure a resolution here. I don't think there's going to be real political pressure that's legitimate, but I think that they could step in here and maybe use the power of the bully pulpit and kind of force the parties to the table.
Well,
who's going to buckle?
Right. That's what we need to know.
Yeah.
And how long is it going to take?
Yeah.
I think.
Because come fall, I'm not standing for this.
Right.
I think Time Warner is going to buckle.
You think
I think Time
Warner's
Warner is going to buckle because at the end, when football comes around,
Moneymaker.
Time Warner is going to start to see subscribers walk out the door. I think over the CBS issue. CBS may not get everything it wants. We don't know exactly how much they're asking for, but I think that they're going to move the needle. They get a penny more than they had in the last contract. That's going to be a win.
Well, what broader implications can this have on television viewers? Because can we see a domino effect starting to happen with other cable channels
Absolutely.
and everyone trying to jump on the bandwagon?
Absolutely. ABC is next up in the series of negotiations, and ABC owns a wide platter of networks. So they own, obviously, the ABC television network. They own the ESPN channels. They own ABC Family.
And they've got hit shows like Scandal, Revenge, Modern Family. Exactly.
That's right. And
Disney.
huge sporting contracts. Cable is really driven by sports to a large extent because one thing you cannot get on Amazon or Netflix or Roku, of course, is live events, and that's where
true.
sports drives it. So ABC will be the next one. In the past, Time Warner has pulled off the ABC stations. It's gone on for, I think, as long as a couple days. It hasn't been particularly, long. And that's why I think Time Warner is bearing down on this one, because they're going to, because they know that they're going to set a precedent here.
It seems like every year it's happening with someone. I had Cablevision recently, and they did the same thing.
That's right. That's right. They are all going to go after trying to keep the dollars down, and that's why look, if you're CBS, you're NBC, or ABC, you look at the cable networks out there. Cable networks have two streams of revenue, right? They have the subscribers, and they have the advertising. Broadcast television only has one stream of revenue, which is the advertising. So they want a piece of that.
All right. Well, as long as everyone has
That's why
Arise
that's
TV,
why I think CBS is going to win.
that's all that matters.
Yeah.
CBS is going to win.
I think CBS. That's what
Okay, you
matters.
heard it here first.
That's
CBS
right.
is going to win.
And we'll keep a close eye on it.
Andrew Schmertz.
Thank you, Andrew.
Schmertz Report, back in the house.
That's right. And you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.